Good morning, everybody! And I have no idea when you're watching this video because I was doing my music video breakdowns for Childish Gambino, covering all the music videos he did, and I started to look more into the whole project behind because the internet, and I looked at the short film titled Clapping for the Wrong Reasons. It wasn't directly tied to the project at all. Now that I've watched it, I feel like it really doesn't have anything to do with the album. But it's a short film by Childish Gambino. That's reason enough to watch it. So I watched it. This came out in 2013, and it is directed by Hiro Murai. I don't know who that is. He's only directed 2 movies. So yeah, I don't know who that is. But anyway, I don't. That's such a weird name. I assumed he was like some big foreign director or something. So this video, this short film that Gambino made, was essentially him around his house, like hanging out with friends, and it's basically kind of like a sad version of like A Day in the Life. I saw a comment saying it was like a depressing version of MTV Cribs. It starts off, Gambino's asleep, and this girl wakes him up. This girl who is kind of like a ghostly figure throughout the film. Gambino keeps asking, because he lives in this big house, and it's filled with people he doesn't know. Not he knows them, but he doesn't like have a meaningful relationship with that many of them. He has like one meaningful conversation this whole thing. I would say, like, it's kind of just the nature. Like, these people are just kind of doing nothing, living off of him, being lazy, and he's kind of in the same vibe as them. He's just making music, and we'll see a lot of guest appearances by other musicians such as Chance the Rapper, Trinidad James. This was still when he was, up there. There's a scene with Chance the Rapper and Trinidad James playing like Connect 4. It's a weird short film. The idea, if anything, seems to all come around this one line that's in 3005 where it says, house full of homies, why I feel so the opposite. Where we really see Gambino like kind of in a day-to-day life, but feeling really not uncomfortable, just kind of like drifting in between these conversations and these it's filmed in such a dry way. I've had a conversation before where I was talking about like how no matter how great something becomes, it always becomes less than just from getting familiar with it. Like, this whole big house. At the beginning of this video, he's trying to make the house seem depressing. It's too fucking amazing. There's a hot tub with, like, a pool beside it. Like, it's too fucking glorious for me not to just be, like, immaculated by it. But, then we see, like, this really, like, all these... There's a scene filled with shoes. Like, he takes off his shoes, and there's, like, dozens of pairs from people who probably just kicked off their shoes before entering the house. Like, it feels empty despite the fact that this house is filled with people, and they just have normal conversations. Like, even though this would be incredible to some people being here in this house, there's obviously like an emptiness and like this another day at the office kind of feel to it. Like his brother just in a messy ass room playing video games with strangers. Like, it's a very it's hard to explain. It also takes a bunch of weird turns. There's a scene where Gambino's they're in front of a fire, and he's telling this dude about this time he made out with a guy. Like, he's like, have you ever told anybody about this before? He's like, nah. It's kind of like that, where it's like, even if he opens himself up, it's like There's no substance behind anything. And that's literally the feel of the whole film. There's also a weird scene. I don't even know what this was about. It's like a horror movie scene. I swear to God. He's in front of the he's in the bathroom, and he starts pulling this string out of his nose, and there's a tooth tied to the end of the string. I have no idea what the point of this scene was. I don't know the context to it to the rest of the film. I see nobody else talking about it. But yeah, I like the ghost girl thing played by Abella Anderson, the fucking porn star, who was also in the lyric video. I don't know. I don't know if they're friends or whatever. Oh yeah, another Easter egg was the Kyle song that was playing. This is before Kyle blew up. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a little fun Easter egg. But yeah, this was such a dry film, and even though that's what it's going for, and it's trying to capture this like tone, I just feel like there should have been more here. Like there should have been an extra scene or something that like ties it together. The film ends with like the ghost girl walking by Gambino, and he's kind of just like, he's like, hey, who are you? And then she keeps walking by, and then she doesn't even say anything. She just goes about her business. And the fact that Gambino doesn't care kind of like signifies like, hey, the fact that I don't even care about this random person who's been in my house for however long really shows kind of where he's at. And then the film ends with him kind of just going to sleep again, ready for the next day, ready for it all over again. And the film ends with presumably the same woman knocking on his door, which also started the film. So Gambino really it's basically a day in the life, because it starts off in the daytime and we see it slowly get darker out, and it ends at nighttime, obviously. So it's a very kind of sad day in the life of Childish Gambino, clapping for the wrong reasons. It really makes me feel like, even if like I were to obtain a house like this, if I were to live a career like this, would it be kind of normalized to the point where it doesn't matter? Like, I've had conversations with, people where it's like, oh, this should be a big deal, and then it's like, it's a normal conversation. You can't hype up conversations. You can't hype up a day in the life, no matter how cool it is. Like, for me, living here, this would not be a day in the life. So for me, it might be cool. But for Childish Gambino, it's a day in the life. Like, there's room for sadness. There is room for feelings of emptiness. Especially, like, I feel like most of the emotions down here are, like, beneath the surface. This entire film is filmed above the surface, but the meaning is deep beneath it. And I saw some people were I looked on Letterboxd, and people were putting this at like 5 out of 5s, 4 out of 5s. There's one list where people put it in my 200 favorite films. Like, I don't know if I would go that far. I thought it was interesting, but I don't think there's that much more behind it than capturing a couple of certain feelings. I don't think it's like revolutionizing anything, or it's like entertaining me to the point where I will come back to it over and over again. But yeah, it was an interesting film. And again, like, this isn't gonna be coming out, this video I'm making, for at least a year or two. So I have no idea where I'll be at by the time you're listening to this. I might be dead, who knows. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching as always. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow with another video, and until then, with that, I leave you.